All right, everybody, welcome back. It's been a while. Today, I hope this is going to be the last thing that I do for this inventory system. But what I'd like to do is just simply make a tooltip because we have the stats and the abilities, but right now we have no way to really display what actually is happening, and we don't want to give console commands for our players to look at things. So the only thing we really have to do in C++ code is back in the equipment types under the stat effect tag. I'm going to make an ftext called attribute name, and I'll set it to ftext, property edit defaults only, blueprint read only. And then the same thing for the equipment right here. I'll make an f text called ability name and set that equal to f text. It defaults only blueprint read only. And then just launch for the editor, and we do the rest inside widgets inside the editor. Okay, now that we're back in the editor, the first thing we can do is fill in the data tables. If we open up all of our data tables, uh, and the abilities here, we could say the dynamic projectile type 1, call it whatever you want. This could be like fireball, right? And we could say the ability level is 3. This is level 3 fireball if you want that one. And then this one can be ice shards because you make that with that type of projectile. And this could just be level 2 ice shards. And then here you need to name it what the attribute name is that it's going to modify. And this will just be health. This will be yield. This will be grit camp. And we just got to do that for all of these. Health, yield, perchance. Hopefully there will be plenty of variety with these. Because whatever effect you give, you can call it whatever you want, right? I'm just being boring. And then we can save all. That's fine. So now that we have that, I can come back into the inventory, into the widgets. And I have the item row already, but what I want to do is I want to make a widget, and this can just be a regular user widget that we'll call W tooltip equipment entry. And in here, I need a size box. And then I need an overlay. Then I need a vertical box. That needs a, oh, excuse me. I want to wrap this vertical box with a border that I'll stretch to fill. And then I'll change the alpha to like 0.75, 0 all the way around. And then the vertical box I can fill. Oh, the size box I want to be 400 width by 500 height. Compile and then change this to desired so I can see it like this. And then I just need some text that I'm going to put up in here that I will censor like this. And this will be item name, oh, item name text. That is variable. And then I get a spacer. This, and I can just put it to like 25. And then I need another vertical box. This vertical box here, and this will be ability container that is variable. Duplicate the spacer, duplicate the container, and call this stat effect container. And leave that as variable, and then the stat effect container can be just like that. And I have 25 spacing, and I have the item names. So we can do that. So if I come back into here, what I could do is say, when I make this tooltip, let's pass the inventory entry. We'll give it the inventory entry. Inventory entry. That means I make it instance editable and expose it on spawn. And then I am going to create a function that is going to make all of the stuff to fill it in. So I need a new function, and we're just going to call it make effect rows. Inside here, I'm going to take the inventory entry and I'm just going to break this. And inside this, we have the effect package, which I'm going to break that, which has our stat effects and our ability that I'll just grab and promote to local variables. So I'll say local stat effects and then local ability. Grab those so we can play around with them because we need those. And then I can hide the unconnected pins and not make this look so ugly. Okay. Um, Now that I have that, what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask the local stat effects is not empty. And if it is not empty because we have stat effects on it, then I'm going to take the local stat effects. I'm going to, for each loop, I'm going to promote this to a local variable called local selected stat. And then I need to create a widget. I need to create a widget here that's going to display what's inside this right here, right? Because I have now all of this stat effect tag and attribute name, and I have all this data inside here. So now I need something that's going to display that. So I'm going to make another user interface widget, a user widget, and this will be called W stat, or excuse me, equipment effect row. And the equipment effect row is just going to be a size box, and then an overlay. Do a horizontal box. Hello. And let's see, first off, I want to make this for, we could do 350 by 50. You do 400 by 50. Whoa! Excuse me. Hit the wrong button there for sure. 400 by 50. Desired on screen. The overlay fills it up. The horizontal box is not filling it up. So let's fill it up. And then inside the horizontal box, I really just need text. And this text will just say like effect name and is variable. I want to center that, and I want to do justification from the left, but geez Lord, I don't need a 24. I can make it like 16. And then I can just duplicate this text and then just justify it on the right and hit fill. And this will be value text. And we can just for whatever say defaults minus this, and this will say effect name. That's just by default. And so we're not going to use any of these. We're just going to write some functions. We're going to say set value text, and we can make another function that says set name text. And this will just take in a text, so text name. We literally just grab this, hit set text. That value text is a little bit different. I need a float called value, and then I need a Boolean called be fractional stat. Because in order to set the value text, I'm going to do set text way back over here. Because I'm going to drag off this and I'm going to hit format text. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say plus, oh, so curly brackets, right? Opening curly brackets, I'll say plus minus, and then closing curly brackets, and then a space, and then this, and then curly brackets again, and hit QTY and curly brackets again, and hit go, and it'll give me two pins, one that says plus minus and one that says quantity on. Okay, so what I'm going to do off this plus minus is I'm going to go like this. I'm going to type in select text, and then now that I'm here, I'm going to plug this into this. Pick A is going to be based off if this is greater than 0, then A is going to be plus and B is going to be minus. So if your stat takes you up, it'll show plus stat. If it takes you down, it'll show there. I'll take off the value and I'll say to text float, and then I'll put this in here, but I'll drop this down because what I want to say is on the minimum fractional digits, what I want to do is select an int, and then based off of, if I say get fractional stat, because it's a variable right here, I could do this. So if it's a fractional stat, the minimum decimals I want to show is 2. But if it's not a fractional stat, the minimum fractional digits that I want to show is 0, because when it auto formats this text to float, if it's 36.00, then it will auto format it to just simply 36. It takes away the 0.00. So I could just leave it like that, and then this will say plus or minus and then give me decimals or not. So now that I have that, what I could do is come back here and then I select in this W equipment effect row. And then I can, now that I have that, I'll promote this to a local variable called local effect row. And from here I can set name text, which is in the local selected stats. I can break this, and I have the attribute name that I can put here. And then I can also take the local effect row and set the value text, which actually I should just be able to go like this. I need fractional stat and current value, which I could just go like this. And then I take the stat effect container and I add child to it, and the child I am adding is the local effect row again. And I want that shown for every stat. I don't want to combine any of these. I want to see if I got a low health and a mid health and a high health roll. I want to see what uh, that I got two different ones. Also, if you wanted to further expand it, you see you still have the minimum stat level and the maximum stat level as well here, right? You have these, so if you wanted to further display, hey, this is what you got, and then this is also your possible rolls, you could further display that, but I'm not going to here. But now that I have all those, so in the cases of if the stat effects is empty, there could be an ability on here still, right? And then even though this is all done, there could still be an ability on here. So then let's make a function that's called make ability row. And this is going to take in I can't just say I say equipment ability group. And this will say ability. And then we can break the ability here and the ability tag. This might also be invalid, right? It might have nothing. So we can say is valid gameplay tag. I've done connected pins branch in here. Say if it's a valid gameplay tag. So we could make another widget. We're going to need to create a widget, but we could make the same ability row really easily actually. If we just say this is set value text, we could say this is say set attribute value text, and then we can make another function say set ability level text, because then the value text we can format it a little bit different. We could say set text here, And in the format text, we could just say LV colon and then the curly braces LV again. And then this can just take in an integer, and this will say ability level. And we could just plug this in, and now it'll tell us level on the ability. So if we do that, then we can take this and we can say this is also an equipment effect row right here. And we can promote this local effect row. And then we can say set ability level text, because if I get ability and then scroll all the way to the bottom, I have this get ability, which is this ability variable. And then I can break this, and this has my ability level inside of it. I can hide all these pins. That, and then inside the ability container, I will add child. I'm going to add the local effect row, and that'll be it. So when I make this, however, what I do is then I call make ability row, and I have the local ability here, and then I can just duplicate this. So either way, if we have stat effects and we fill out stat effects, or if we don't and we don't fill out stat effects, we still have to check if we got our ability row. And then in here, can't forget on event construct, we're going to say make effect rows. So we actually do that. And then the item name text, don't worry about that. We could set text here. And then I have the inventory entry right here. So I can just break this. And then I have the item name. So I'll just do that. Boop. Boop. Okay. So now we have a tooltip equipment entry, and this is instance editable and expels on spawn. So we come back to the item row. Here's how we're going to use it. I don't want to just like, if I highlight this anywhere, it's going to show this tooltip. I want to say specifically not over the quantity or the button, but if I highlight over the name, that it will show me the tooltip. So what I'm going to do is click on the item name text right here that is variable, and I'm going to scroll down, and you're going to see behavior, and you have tooltip text. Well, in the advanced section, there's a tooltip widget right here, and in the bind, you can create a binding. And then if we open this up right here and stretch this out, what I'll do is I'll say I have the inventory entry, right? So let's break the inventory entry, and I can break this, and I can take this item tag. And remember, we have this macro that filters category tags. So if I take this macro and I filter by the item tag, I can say, listen, if I hover over that name and I am a consumable item, I want to do nothing. I don't want to show anything, no tooltip. But if I am an equipment item, then what I want to do is create a widget of a W tooltip equipment entry, which is going to ask me for the inventory entry, which we're going to take from right here and just pass on through. And then we'll just return that. And that is the return value for equipment pieces. And now that I have that, that should really be all we need to do, because the rest of it should just auto fire. So if I open up this client and I add a bunch of stuff, I'll see I got 25 shield on that wooden shield, and this broken mace. Uh-oh, effect name level 3. So it looks like the effect name wasn't set for the abilities for some reason. Effect name. Let's take a look. Oh, set ability level text. Of course, we didn't actually set on the local effect row. We didn't actually set the name. How silly of me. Set name text. That's why we have the ability name. I'm going to spare you the amount of time I just went through troubleshooting this. So we're just going to jump straight to the issue. I left it at 3 maximum fractional digits. This needs to be 2 in order to display it between 2 and 0. This needs to be that. I'm so sorry, but if you fix that, good for you. If not, well, I just spent a bunch of time so confused. So we're all good. But now I am going to fill this out, and there we go. We have a small knife with this health and this crit chance and this health. This wooden shield got absolutely nothing on it. This one got health and shield. And you can see I equipped this. And at this point, you can do the show debug ability system. And you can now see here that the shield and all the stats lines up. So health is 208 and shield is 182. So now I have 208 and 182 for health and shield, and it bumps up the max shield and it does all of that already for you. So now we've got a nice display, and then you can see when we hover over mana potion, nothing happens. Only the equipment gets this tooltip here like that.